What up, what up, what up, football fans all over the world? It's your boy Mac the Giants fan here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for that real deal NFC East round up. Punch that intro. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. I am Mac the Giants fan here with my guy, the super dope co-host Adam Costas. Man, how you feeling today, Adam?
I am doing well. Got some good news that has enlightened me for the rest of the holiday. So nothing can really, pop my bubble right now, so to speak.
That's good. That's good to hear, man. I'm so happy to hear that for you, brother. I'm glad the holiday season getting off to a really good start for you, man. And coming in, bringing Christmas joy to you, man.
Oh, it
Appreciate
is. Hey, I got Christmas joy. It must have been the hat I was wearing.
it. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So let's get right to it, man. Let's talk about this division, this NFC East division, man. It has been a rough division. I feel like I can safely say it is officially right now the worst division in football, probably. Uh, I mean, a couple other ones give it. I mean, NFC South may give it a run for its money a little bit too, but I don't know, man. NFC East has been really, really rough the last few weeks. In particular, man, these teams are falling apart. Let's talk about Dallas, man. On Thursday night, going over to Detroit, man, and playing the Detroit Lions. Dallas Cowboys had a lot of momentum coming into this football game and playing really good football. You know, offensively, defensively, was had stepped up, and then all of a sudden, here we go. Thursday night happens, and a 40 burger, man, gets put on them. Gets put on them on Dallas, man. This team was absolutely never in this football game from what I was watching. It was just never really as competitive as it might. They might have like they got back into it a little bit, but Detroit had full control of this football game. What's your thoughts on it, Adam?
Well, clearly the Cowboys needed, what do we say every time when you need to beat these big teams? When you get in the red zone, you need to score touchdowns. And that's the difference in the ball game right there, because they went down and kicked 3 field goals. If they scored 3 touchdowns, maybe the outcome is a little different. And that's what kind of set themselves back, is they could not deliver in the red zone in the first half. Obviously, the turnovers didn't hurt them, and obviously not being able to stop the hungry Lions on defense. It looked like they just couldn't do much. But when they did claw their way into it, their defense let them down time after time. They did their best to keep it in the game, but again, they kicked field goals when the Lions were scoring touchdowns. And it's great to have Brandon Audrey, who is the best kicker in the NFL, but he's not the guy you want to have most of your points. Okay, you had 9 points in the first half, and then he kicked a couple field goals in the second. Right? Again, if they score touchdowns, ifs and buts or candies nuts every day be Christmas. But that is the story of the game for me, is red zone efficiency in terms of scoring touchdowns. Yes. Can I complain that they scored 30 points? On a normal day, no. But you're playing a playoff team with its season on the line. You got to have a few more stops than that. And the Cowboy defense let them down. And then, of course, the offense could not. They had their sputters in the red zone, and I think that's what really was the tail end of the game. Because normally the Cowboys can put up 40 points in a blink of an eye, and they just weren't being able to quite get over that hump in the red zone. So I think that's what really cost them. And like I said, the defense did what it could, but the Lions had a good game plan and ended up working out. They made it simple. The Cowboys suck at stopping the run. They ran the football. So that's what it comes down to, those few factors.
Yeah, I mean, it just came down to. I mean, overall, Dak didn't necessarily. It wasn't necessarily the most terrible of games. I mean, the turnovers, the interceptions were bad. You know what I mean? But he still was pretty efficient with the football and all that. But it's just the Cowboys just couldn't, like you said, it really came down to that. That's what it really was all about. That first half, man. Those field goals killed them in the first half. You get down there. 3 opportunities to put touchdowns on the board, and you came away with field goals every time, and that really was probably the big difference in this football game. It's where things got away from you. You know what I mean? You did, battle back into the game, but at that point it was kind of too little, too late. Detroit had pretty much, was in cruise control at that point, man, and they still did what they had to do to put y'all away. They slammed that door on y'all late in the game once again as well. When you thought you had a chance of getting back in it, Detroit still found a way to slam that door, and it's crazy. I mean, this was just crazy coming into this football game. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I actually was believing in the Dallas Cowboys coming into this game. I was thinking I was really drinking the Kool-Aid, man. Like, damn, this team is dangerous now. They're getting hot at the right time. This is what it's all about. And yeah, sure, the lights aren't out for them completely right now. They still got they absolutely have a shot. We'll talk about that later as to why they have such a great opportunity still. But even coming off of this loss, but at the same time, this was a disappointment right here for me, a letdown. I mean, Detroit was coming into this game reeling a bit, and the Cowboys were coming into this game kind of on fire, man. And two teams that were looking like and going in opposite directions coming into this football game, and Detroit tried to take a little bit of seize a little bit of their momentum back, as they're kind of still holding on for dear life, man, with a possibility of getting one of those wild card spots in the NFC. And Dallas, man, really didn't do us any favors, man, by taking this L here. This was a game the Dallas Cowboys absolutely needed. I mean, both teams needed it, to be honest. And it looks like one team was a little hungrier, and that was the Detroit Lions, man. But
yes, I mean, I can't really disagree with what you're saying much. I know you did, your video did cut out a little bit, but at the end of the day, your point is what my point is. I'm not picking the Cowboys. I mean, it's not that I can't pick the Cowboys, but every time I think the Cowboys are going to do something, they let me down. Right? Oh, I think you're going to beat Detroit and really show up, and what do? Let me down. Now, the game they're playing this week, it's hard to pick against them, but there is a chance they do lose this game against Minnesota because Minnesota doesn't have to do much on offense to beat you, right? But we'll get into that more deep. All I'm just saying is, like, even on Hard Knocks, I was watching Hard Knocks today, and got to watch that story play out, and got a couple comments on that. But for the Cowboy coach, Brian Schottenheimer was pissed off at the practice. They were dropping passes and stuff, and in a little snippet, he's like, it looks like you guys are feeling yourselves. You hear all this national publicity and you start, thinking that you're better than you are. And I think it carried over on Thursday. I think they had that mindset where they were better than they are, and they were going to score 30 points easily, and the Lions were going to struggle. And you got to remember this, a week-to-week league. And, they play on the road. We should have thought about that. They're not as good as they are on the road as they are at home. Too bad for the Cowboys. You need to figure out a way to win these road games. That's how you're going to get into the playoffs. Can't play every game at home. So, let's see what they do down the stretch. It's a big game coming up on Sunday for them. We'll really find out if they're really going to fight for their season or if they just kind of lay down this week.
Well, yeah, it's definitely do or die time for. They put themselves in a situation where now I think every game at this point is pretty much a must win for this Dallas Cowboy football team, especially seeing how they don't have another matchup with the Eagles, you know what I mean, at all. The team that they're chasing right now, they don't have a chance to at least win another head-to-head matchup with that football team. I know they did. They split, right? They did split, right? Yeah, they did. They split this season series, but at the same time, they can't benefit on that. All the Eagles have to do is still continue to finish with a better record than them, and that's good. That's it for the Dallas Cowboys. So that's right now is their backs against the wall. They have to win every game. They cannot afford to have one of those letdown games against a team, like you said, coming up this week, like the Minnesota Vikings. They got to figure out a way to win this football game. So it's going to be up to them, man. What's going on, Mosley, in the chat? Appreciate you popping in, man. I hope everything's going well with you. Happy holidays to you, my brother. But, yeah, so it's just must win for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they can't, no more excuses. Now it's time. You got to clean up whatever you got to clean up. Everything's got to click. Everything. You got to find a way to make everything work. Dak Prescott, I think, is still overall playing very good. And in the most normal seasons, he'd probably be a MVP type candidate right now. Been a couple other guys doing some spectacular things and also winning football games at a higher rate right now. So that's kind of one thing keeping him off of that, off the radar for the MVP, I think, honestly. But I think he has to rebound this week against a tough Brian Flores-led defense, and we'll see what happens when they come out. We'll talk about that in a little while, man. But yeah, any more thoughts with the Dallas Cowboys and what you saw from them?
Not really. They do what they do. They disappoint me when they I think they're going to prosper.
I agree. Every time you think they're on to something, then they go ahead and let you down, man. That's what this Dallas Cowboy team seems to do, man. But let's get to another team. Let's get to the team they're chasing in the division right now. Let's go to Monday Night Football, man. Talk about the Eagles, man. Eagles taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Monday Night Football, man. All eyes on them, and this Eagle team, man, it just continues to struggle. I don't understand it. I can't figure it out. The talent to me is just too immense. And this game was a comedy of errors for the Eagles. This was a mess. Jalen Hurts could be a career worst game for him, man. This was bad. He looked terrible out there. And I don't know what you want to talk. You want to talk about it, Adam? What you got, man?
I think isn't he the only person to fumble, throw an interception, and fumble on the same play, same drive? I don't mean to laugh, but that's the most comical thing I saw this weekend was. As much as the Eagles defense did everything it could to keep them in this game, and that's what the Chargers do. I love the Chargers. I love Justin Herbert, but they are a tough team because they play wire to wire. They never can blow a team out. When they have a momentum, they lose it again. Then they gain momentum. They lose it. They gain it. And it's a constant up and down battle. But at the end of the day, with Jim Harbaugh, they become winners. And they were feisty. And I thought the Chargers defense did what it needed to do in the end and really flustered Jalen Hurts. But he looked terrible. I hate to say that. We argued about this at the beginning of the year, whether he was a top 10 quarterback. And I said something to AK the other day, and he's like, well, why didn't you realize this before? I said, it seems like Jalen Hurts is very limited in certain things. Like when you really need him, outside of winning, right? And clutch moments. He has a lot of those. But the every down scenarios in between the games, it's either he throws it deep, which sometimes, you can blame the receiver AJ Brown for not catching the ball. And that is a big factor, but they are going to make drops happen. Not every receiver goes 100 for 100, right? There's 99 out of 100, so there's going to be a drop here and there. When that drop comes, obviously it gets magnified, but he seems to be, I don't know what's happening. He doesn't run anymore consistently. He throws the ball drifting to his right. He's staring down receivers. In this game, he was really bad. And if it wasn't for Saquon Barkley breaking a big touchdown run, I don't think this game would have been that close. And probably, if you look at it, is not that close.
I can agree, man. I mean, Saquon Barkley had probably maybe his best game of the season, but at the same time, the rest of this Eagles offense is just. I mean, AJ Brown actually put together a good game as well. I guess overall, you could look at the stats, numbers: 6 catches, 100 yards,
drop, right? So
targeted 13 times, though. You know what I mean? So just still 7 balls right there. That's kind of what's going on with these passes, man. Jalen Hurts, like you said, was 21 of 40 for 240 yards, no touchdowns. 4 interceptions and the fumble as well. Like you said, fumble and an interception on the same play. That was one of the funniest I've ever seen. As much as we talked about the Giants and their kicker from the week prior, this was an equally as funny moment. Something you just never seen before in a football game. Probably can't think of a player doing something like that on one play. But at the end of the day, in all seriousness, this Philadelphia Eagle team, they need to figure something out as we get approach these postseason, man. Because right now,
they're cooked.
We can't even be convinced that they're even going to make the postseason because the Cowboys are still on their heels right now. Mathematically, the Cowboys are very much in it. I think only at this point, maybe only a game back. I'm not certain. I can't remember, but they're right there in the mix.
They're 8-5. If they win, they'll go to 9-5. The Cowboys need to win. They'll be at 7-6, and then it's a race to the finish at that point because if they lose one more game, the Eagles are 10-7 and 10-7 or 10-7, 10-6. They need 2 more games, and there's 2 more games on the schedule they could possibly lose, right? So you're right, man. Calamity of errors. 4 interceptions. I didn't realize he threw 4 interceptions. That's even worse.
He said he didn't. What's going on, Jay, man? Thank you for stopping in. I always appreciate it, man. So you get 2 turnovers on one play in Madden 04.
Well,
Wow.
I didn't even know that was possible. Like I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen with other guys. The ball comes loose, a lineman gets it, another lineman knocks it out. You're like, okay, I get it. But you threw the interception, then get the ball back, and then fumble that again. And then at the end of the day, you see your box score like he threw for 240 yards. Like I would have never known after that performance that he threw for 240 yards. You'd be like, that game is ugly. And that's what I feel Jalen Hurts has been. You look at the box score and you're like, oh, he threw for 286 yards, but they lost. Are these good? Are these numbers really good stats? Are they garbage stats? I'm still trying to figure out if it's the offensive play calling that's bad or if he's, just this bad, because you can't go from being what you were last year, damn near in the MVP conversation, to all of a sudden looking like this. Now I understand their offense is atrocious. They have I don't know what's wrong, because even they did even have some creativity and they still couldn't get it done. And they're just a unit that is short circuiting in the biggest moments, right? Like they're dropping passes. Jalen Hurts throws it behind Goddard. They're getting the ball's getting tipped in the air. He's not having the clutch. I'll tell you right now, they're 1 and done in the playoffs. They're not getting the number 1 seed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, they're not getting number 1 seeded. They're not getting number 1
They
seeded.
may not even make the playoffs at this rate.
But like you said, they may not make it at this point because, like you said, they haven't put the Cowboys away. And I mean, with the way the schedule's set up, they both got games that they should definitely both win. And they got, it's tough. It's tough to call, especially the way this Eagle team is playing. I feel like the way this Philadelphia Eagle team is playing, there's nobody that it wouldn't shock me if they lose to anybody the way they're playing right now. It's just, it's been, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
It's weird.
It's weird. Yeah, it's a weird thing because like I say, look at this roster on paper. It's dynamic. It's what every team around the league wants in a roster. You know what I mean? When you look at it on paper, and it's just like, what's not coming together for this football team this year, man? It's been. I know there's been some surprises around the league, and some teams have stepped up, but still, this is just. Well, this team's been a mess. This whole division's kind of been a mess, man.
If we were to forecast this out, right? The Cowboys and the Eagles schedule are virtually very similar. The Eagles play Washington, they play Buffalo, and they play the Raiders. And they play somebody else. I forget who else the last one is, right? So, and the Cowboys have a very easy schedule. They play a Minnesota team that they can beat. They play Charger team, and then they play the Giants. Excuse me. So there is a chance for, if the Cowboys don't step up and the Eagles don't step up, a chance for them to actually get out of the playoffs, because the Buffalo Bills you're not playing them week 18. You're playing them week 17, which means they are still in the playoff hunt. They're going to look for the number 1 seed. And so that means they're going to not rest starters. Josh Allen ain't coming out of that game. And let me tell you, that team can make it real difficult. And they play Washington. I don't know who
twice. They play Washington twice.
Yeah. So you got to think that Washington's probably going to win one of those games just by somehow, some circumstance, right? That's what they do. Especially the way this offense is struggling. Can you trust them to not be because they were a good stop in the run against the Chargers. People forget about that. If it wasn't for the Chargers throwing interceptions and kind of keeping them in the game, they weren't like stopping the run consistently. And if Washington can get some sort of a run game going and the Eagle offense is sputtering, I mean, I can see them losing to Washington, right? Last game of the year. I can see it happening. I can see that being the game where the Eagles either win and they're in, or they lose and the Cowboys win against the Giants and they're in. And that game's going to be played at 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock or whatever the game is, and they're going to time it up so they can't scoreboard watch. But there's a lot going down the street. And this Eagle team, I was watching again, Hard Knocks. I don't know what to put my finger on it. I cannot understand how you can have so much talent. And I think this is worse than 2023 because at least in 2023, they had 10 wins locked up. So they were basically, nobody was going to catch them, really, right? Even though they ended up being the third seed, they only needed to win one more game really to kind of cement themselves. They went 11-6, right? So they only had they went 1-5 down the stretch. They're already 8-5. They have 4 games to go, and if they don't win out and they lose, maybe I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say they lose to the Bills. I have no idea what they're going to do against the Raiders. You would hope that they can beat the Raiders, and then Washington, I think they split. So let's just say they go 2-2 down the stretch. Will that be enough for them to get in? That will be the question, because at that point you'll be 10-7, right? And the Cowboys, if they go 4-0 down the stretch, let's just say they do, they'll be 10-6-1. So now they win the division. Now they get into the playoffs, and they're looking at you as you're on your way out.
Well, yeah, they better figure out. I think their schedules are slightly more favorable than the Cowboys, and I think they better take advantage of that. I mean, just one team left on their schedule with a winning record in Buffalo, and other than that, I hear you saying they may split against Washington, but the reality is they should beat Washington in both of those football games. I mean, that's just the reality. It's just no real excuse for them to be losing to a 3-10 football team who may even go into that game at 3-11, who may go into the one game at 3-11, and who knows what their record is going to be at that point. I got a feeling that Jaden Daniels will probably be shut down. I would shut him down for the rest of the year. There's just no reason to put him back on the field this season with all he's been going through from an injury standpoint. So I would like to think he won't be playing in either one of those matchups, so.
Well, before we get to Washington, wouldn't it be funny is if we get down to this point and Dan Quinn tells his team, look, men, we have a chance to knock a team out of the playoffs. Let's play the role of spoiler. If they have some, because I don't care what anybody says, a guy like Dan Quinn knows he has job security. So unless it's a complete clusterfuck, which they don't have a lot of players that are young on the team that need to see, I would expect them to try to play hard and play for that team that hey, let's play role of spoiler, because he just had too much pride in that game, right? I don't think he's going to lie down if he has a chance. If the Eagles are in the playoffs, he might treat it as a preseason game and say, you know what, let's just see some young guys here. But if they're in there, if I'm Dan Quinn and I know I have job security, maybe I want to play and get a little momentum and screw the divisional opponent over. Who knows? But my point is a team like that, and after, again, I'm taking a little tidbits from Hard Knocks as well. After listening to Hard Knocks after their game this week, I don't think they're going to play as badly as they played last week. And if they can play similar to what they did against a team like they did against Denver, they're going to be a tough, out to have. So.
Jay says, we're going to beat the Redskins and Raiders in pathetic games in draft 7th. I've seen this script before. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, man. We'll talk about that. But right now, the New York Giants are holding on to number 1 overall pick for the time being. But let's you finish with the Eagles, or you want to talk anything else about the Eagles, or
nothing more?
Talk about these Washington Commanders now going out, taking on Minnesota on Sunday and just getting absolutely embarrassed out in Minnesota, man. 31-0. Nothing looked good about Washington. Nothing offensively looked good. Nothing defensively looked good. It was just bad all the way across the board. Jaden Daniels could not finish the game once again, leaving the game with an injury. He was playing absolutely terribly anyway. Probably just didn't need to be out there, it looked like. What's your thoughts on the game, Adam?
It's unfortunate because you don't ever want to see that. I thought they had a chance to win. I picked them last week because I thought what I saw from last week with Jaden Daniels coming back would have sparked them, but I guess not playing Mariota was probably maybe the detriment because they didn't have a chance to rally. And, of course, we talked about Washington. Their defense is not great. And, you're giving the ball to the Minnesota Vikings in plus territory. You're going to get scored on. And it's hard to play like that when you give up turnovers and your offense is not doing much. And it wasn't for lack of trying. Terry McLaurin dropped some passes here. Debo Samuel dropped it. I don't know what will happen. I think Dan Quinn's a good enough coach to get his guys rallied. And we'll see what happens. Mariota hasn't played bad when he's in there. He hasn't been spectacular, but he's been competent enough for them to run their offense. And maybe just that kind of shakeup in Minnesota, forcing him back in there, maybe that didn't work out too well for them. And we'll see how they respond. Really, it's about how they respond. And Minnesota, let's be honest, they're whatever slim playoff chances they have, let's be real, Kevin O'Connell's going to try to keep them in that, rally off 4 wins. And it's not like it's out of the realm of possibilities for them Minnesota to rally off some wins. We talked about the Cowboys, who are inconsistent. For all we know, their defense can come to play and knock the Cowboys right out the playoff picture next week, right? And things, and then they play the Giants. And if they win out, who knows what happens, right? They have a slim chance. So I think when you see a team like that, they had something to play for. And I just think the Commanders kind of, once they got hit in the face and the offense wasn't working, they kind of just shut it down. And we're like, what? We're not. I wouldn't say it's as embarrassing as the Giants loss, because I think they tried, but it just didn't work. But both losses were terrible to begin with. But we'll see how they bounce back. This will be a test this week for them. We'll really see if they believe in their coaching staff and they believe in playing hard and they have some pride. Otherwise, they might have just shut it down. And who knows what their front office is saying. Because you remember they have a draft pick too that they want to keep. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, look, I don't know what to expect from this football team. I think they're coming into this game. They'll be coming into this week depleted. Something we also didn't even bring up in this game against Minnesota. They also lost another key part of their offense. And Zach Ertz gone for the rest of the. He's out. He won't be coming back the rest of this season. And honestly,
he's retired.
If I'm going to be honest, I think that's it. That we may have seen the last of Zach Ertz period. I think his career at this point, what makes a guy at this stage of his career want to battle back from a torn ACL at this point?
Well, it's not about that. It's about, let's say he comes back. First off, we don't know if he's going to make the season, right? But he's also going to be 37 now.
Well, that's what I mean. I just don't know. Does he want a guy at his stage? Would he want to put that like that priority on the rehab to get ready to play football again? I mean, I know you want to get better as just in general. I mean, I understand that part, but I mean, is your mind going to be really invested in getting ready for another season of football when at this point, I mean, how much more does he truly have? I mean, he's been a key for the Commanders this season. I will give him that. He's probably their leading receiver, as a matter of fact. But at the end of the day, man, I don't see a situation. I don't see where he's necessarily expect to see him back on the playing field anymore. I think we might have seen the last of Zach Ertz, unfortunately, and it's a shame they had to go out in such a way, man, because it looked bad when it happened initially on the field. I did actually was watching the game at that point, and so when that happened, it looked pretty bad. And
it was a low shot, and his foot got caught a little bit in the turf as he flipped over and hyperextended back. So it's tough. The thing that looks at me is like, I think he's going to come back, but the question is, do you want to sign a guy who's 37 coming off a knee injury, or however old he is? Will a team go out there? Because I can easily see him, rehabbing and being a guy, maybe an analyst somewhere, or working out, selling insurance, and then, the Commanders get a tight end and they draft a tight end and that guy goes down, and next thing you know, they need to call up Zach Ertz out of the fire to come. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him like like that. I don't think he's going to make it training camp, but I do believe he's going to give it a go at least. And then, if we don't see him by sometime mid-year next year, it'll probably be over. But I think he'll be back. I don't know if he'll be back for the Commanders, but I think he don't want to go out like that. He doesn't want to go out on those terms.
That's the fact. I guess that's true. That's a fair point. You're right. I didn't look at it that way at first, but I was just starting to think about it as you were talking. I was thinking like, yeah, maybe you're right, because maybe like nobody wants to really go out like that on that kind of note. Nobody wants to end it on that. Like they want to end it on their own terms.
Especially this day and age with the modern, ACL injuries that people have come back from, right? I mean, you know what's a worse injury is the one over on the Colts with the Achilles injury, Daniel Jones. That was worse because
and then the backup quarterback got hurt too.
I mean, when you're signing Philip Rivers off the street, it's never a good situation. But my point is that like I believe he can come back if he wants to. Will he be coveted tight end, signed to a long-term deal? Probably not. Will he be brought into the Commanders? Probably. If he has the contract, he'll be put on the PUP list. So I think there'll be a chance for him to try to come back. And you know what's going to happen next year. The Commanders are going to retool, get better on defense, have their third or fourth place schedule, be in some of these games. And next thing you know, out comes Zach Ertz to help them with the playoff push because they signed him to the year, and this will be Zach Ertz's last hurrah, right? That's what I could see happening. I don't think he wants to go away in this bad season, and it's that's just my thought on it.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense what you're saying. It makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, I do agree with you. The more you're talking, it's like it makes a lot of sense, and I do tend to agree loud with you that guys do, athletes especially, it's an ego thing too. You want to go out on your own terms. You don't want to let this dictate the end of your career. You know what I mean? Especially if it's something that you maybe can battle back from and give it at least a go.
I mean, I could be wrong, and he could be like, "Fuck it, I don't want to do it anymore." But I just have a feeling that we haven't seen the last of Zach Ertz. I don't know for the Commanders per se, but tight ends have longevity in this league. I mean, they do. Mercedes Lewis is damn near 41 years old. That guy is still playing football, right? I mean, so it's not on the realm of Jimmy Graham lasted until he was damn near 36. All he did was jump balls to the end of his career. He didn't do anything. He just run downfield, will throw a jump ball. So guys in those skill position player teams can do it, and he was relatively healthy throughout his year, and it was a hit that took him out. It wasn't like a non-contact injury, which it sucks either way, but to me, I'd rather be taken out than the turf take me out, because at least it was something that could have probably been avoided or prevented. The Viking might have been. I don't know if it was. It's borderline dirty hit, but there's nothing you can do about it because it's a bang bang kind of play, and that guy was coming in to make a tackle, or would have been a tackle if he caught the ball. So, that's why I think when he replays it back, he's going to sit there and be like, "No, I'm coming back." So, but again, Washington to land the ship. I think Dan Quinn has too much pride, and like he said in the locker room at the end of the game, he's like, even though we took 2 steps forward against Denver, we took a couple steps back here. We need to get back onto that team that played Denver, not the team that we played here. So I think you'll see a different performance from them this week. I just think they're too prideful with guys like Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn. They understand the assignment, but their assignment is Dan Quinn is not a tanker. He can't do that. He's here to be a teacher and grow and he's really, your ass is on the line here. I don't think he's going to be fired per se. If he is, I definitely interview him, but I don't think he's going to be fired because of the circumstances at quarterback and the injuries that they've had. I think
it was a lot. I don't think he did a bad job. I just think it was a lot going on that he just couldn't control out of his control a little bit.
Right, and teams like this, if you get a draft pick, I'm not saying you can, but if you get a draft pick, guess what? People are going to want to come play with Jaden Daniels. They're going to be able to revamp that team. They don't have a lot of draft picks, but they can make some trades. You know what I mean? And so they have assets on the team that I would trade if I was them. And you need a pass rusher because you don't have many. So that's what would be the first thing I look for. And I saw a mock draft that I recently saw come out. I don't even know if they have a first round pick. I think they do. I'm not sure. I think they traded draft capital for Tunsil this year. I'm not sure about next year, but regardless, it's going to be an intriguing offseason for them, and I think then to land the ship again, Dan Quinn has too much pride. I don't think they're going to lie down for anybody. They may lose, but I just don't think they're going to lie down.
Yeah, I agree. It's off topic. I don't know why it just popped in my head when you brought his name up. But just a couple of weeks ago, I remember getting the alert on my phone, the Hall of Fame semifinalists get named, and Philip Rivers was one of those names. He made it to the semifinal stage of the Hall of Fame, of this Hall of Fame class. And then here, a couple of weeks later, at the age of 44, ain't played football in 5 years. You go from Hall of Fame semifinalist to back on a football team. again, once again. So back, I guess does that mean back to the drawing board for him? I mean, so he's got to wait another 5 years now again to be eligible for the Hall of Fame.
I think if he's on the practice squad the entire year, it doesn't affect him, right?
So, I almost feel like he may not be unless Anthony Richardson is ready to play. I don't know what else the Colts got.
I mean, I think it's gonna. I think we're not gonna see. Maybe this is good. Maybe this is his plan. Maybe he knows he wouldn't have made it in this year to the Hall of Fame. Let me go back to the NFL, play this year, and then I can go back in with a weaker class, and I can be the primary quarterback in that class. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I just thought it was crazy because like you said. I mean, I don't think he would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer anyway. But at the same time, you never know. And
you're not going into the likes of Eli Manning, Drew Brees, and all those guys, and you get to go in a class with somebody that nobody knows. It boosts your stock. So I guarantee you, he thought. I guarantee you, somebody ran that by him like, Phil, you do know you're about to be a finalist for the Hall of Fame. I don't care. I got 10 kids. I'm going to go play some football. They need me over the Colts, right? So he went and he's going to go play some football.
That's funny. That's the first thing I said to him when I saw that he was coming back. I was like, oh, he must need some extra money for all them goddamn kids and shit, man. All them fucking kids. What's going on, though, Vets?
He's like the old stripper at the strip club that he's coming back for one last session. You still got the goods in our 40s. I have 10 kids. Got to feed them. But. Exactly. Word. Waiting another 5 years may help his chances. Like, think about it.
Because it's muddy right now. The Hall of Fame situation is muddy right now.
Let's imagine this. Oh, God. I can't even believe we're going down. It's an NFC East show, but we're going off on a tangent here real quick. Imagine if he fucking wins in the Colts and they win like the Super Bowl or some shit. Imagine that. Like, how crazy would that be? You waited, and then he rides off into the sunset. He'd be a Hall of Famer there. So, well, the Eagles are flying, but not very high. So,
what's going on, Logan Motorsports? Thanks for popping in. But yeah, boys ain't flying too high right now, but they still leading this sorry ass division. But
well, actually, the South is a little interesting because they have an up and coming Panther team. That's kind of interesting. But the definitely the East is a sad sack of
yeah.
You know what? I know the Giants make news, and I know that we've been talking about the Commanders. They don't really have much. But the Giants made news of firing Brian Cox. And I just read that they fired him on – apparently he wanted to change his seat because Mike Kafka, who I think is a total dork and did not inspire me in Hard Knocks at all when I was watching that. I don't know if you watched it, but
I'm not
going to spoil everything, but he's sitting there and you're looking at these players and they're like – looking right through him. And then you look at the injury report that came out today, and there's like 10 guys that didn't fucking practice already. And I'm like, exactly. He wanted a seat on the plane because they were sitting in the back, the assistant coach. They got regulated in the back of the line. They were like, you know what? I wouldn't want to mess with Brian Cox. He probably knows I can kick this guy's ass. I'm Brian fucking Cox. I'm not sitting in the back of the seat. And boom, he's fired. And of course, Mike Kafka goes, oh, you have to ask him. Like, this team's a mess. You can't even leave the bye week without information. You can't leave the bye week without having somebody fired. By the way, it would have been better if you fired him for a performance. For a fucking performance. You say, I'm going to fire you because the D-line sucks. No, you have to let it get leaked out that he's getting fired over a fucking seat change. Are you kidding me right now? What kind of clown show are we running here? What kind of fucking asinine fucking organization are we running here that instead of firing you, hey, you know what? The defense sucks. I'm going to fire you. No, you fucking, you don't want to sit in the back? You're fired. Like, what the fuck are we running? How serious are you?
This is the New York Giants, bro. We wouldn't be the New York Giants if shit like that didn't happen. But it's funny because like you just said, not for anything, not for his coaching on the field, his performance, his coaching duties. It's like Shane Bowen got to let this defense just be absolutely terrible for most of the damn year, and this guy gets fired for a seat on the plane. So that's where we're at.
But what message are we sending to our team and to our fan base when you're firing the D line coach over a seat, the assistant D line coach when his boss, the D-line coach, has let people run 200 yards on us. But you give him a fucking seat on the plane, you're firing. Like, what kind of power do you think you are, Mike Kafka? Like, who the hell do you think you are? You get all this firing power. You fired fucking Shane Bowen. You fired this guy. You fired that guy. What the fuck, man? You know what? You lost me when you didn't fire Shane Bowen as your first act of duty. Now, I would have walked in there and I would have said, you're fired. I don't care what ownership says. Get the fuck off my team. I would have respect for you then. But you waited 2 weeks, had the shit melt down, fucking fired this guy here who, by the way, you're a backup guy who hasn't called a defense in his life, had an atrocious defense on Monday night, couldn't stop a fucking nosebleed, and you fire a guy because the guy doesn't want to sit in the back with the players because he's a coach? I don't get
it. It's just crazy. This team is just storylines. The storylines are just ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous with this football team. This team's a joke, man. Like you said, the fact that on the bye week, no less, we're sitting here dealing with this nonsense. Brian Cox probably said thank you on his way out the fucking door, to be quite frank. He said, I can get the fuck out of here now. I ain't gotta deal with this nonsense anymore. It's damn circus. This is a zoo.
Well, that's why you got to fire everybody. You got to fire Joe Shane, too. He's not exonerated. You know, like, you brought in Brian Dable, this mess happened. You were on the headset, you had a chance to fire. You didn't do anything. Now Kafka's over here acting like he's this hard ass. Like, oh, I'm a tough guy, I'm going to hold accountable. Like, let me suspend Abdul Carter for a quarter. Like, that's going to do something to the defense. Like, you act like that's a punishment. He comes in and has a couple sacks. You know what he's going to say? I'm going to keep sleeping in meetings because I'm producing regardless. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Dexter Lawrence is looking up in the sky like, he don't care. Like, this team is checked out.
What's going on? What's going on, Goji Vibe? Welcome to the...
You know what I mean? Exactly. No, we're in agreement on something finally. No way he should stay. The way that
he shouldn't get interviewed. He shouldn't get interviewed at this point. Like, fuck him. Get him out of here completely.
Over a seat? If I'm John Mara, and obviously John Mara's going through, but if I'm ownership and even Joe Shane, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck? This guy, Brian Cox, of all things, you're firing him? Who probably would have ripped his head off if he saw him in the street, you know? Or played quarterback in the NFL at a high level, Brian Cox would tear his head off. But what is this guy doing? Like that over us? Like that's the type of petty bullshit that's gonna have the players buy out of your system.
I want to know how the conversation went. You walk up to Brian, like, Brian, you know, I really needed you to take that seat in the back of the plane, so we're gonna have to let you go, buddy, because you didn't want to sit in the back of the plane with the players, as opposed to sitting there with the coaches up here with the coaches.
It was a confrontation. He said, I bet it went like this. He's like, hey, Brian, unfortunately, you're not sitting up here with us. He's like, what do you mean I'm not sitting up here with you? You got to sit in the back and play with the players. You're an assistant coach. What do you mean I'm an assistant coach? You know, what do you mean? I got to sit back here? This defense stinks. Why would I want to sit back there and play? I'm with the coaching staff. You know what? You're fired. You're insubordinate. Get out of here. They landed and they gave him his pink slip. You know, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the thing is, optically, we talk about the optics, right? All the time with the optics. This is beyond optics. When you find out the reason that he was fired is not even performance-based, that'd be like you being fired for, you know, I don't know, not wanting to sit in the chair that somebody sneezed on or some shit, right? Like, I don't want to sit there. You know, that chair is dirty. Oh, you're fired. What? Because I asked to have a seat change or be like, you got to be kidding me. I'm sure there was underlying issues that went on. I'm sure there was some insubordination and some shit rubbed him the wrong way. Maybe he was intimidated. I don't know. Maybe he wants to set a precedent for the coaches. But I'm telling you right now, I don't have any faith in them on Sunday. I'm going to pick them to win Sunday, spoiler alert, but I have no faith in them on Sunday because every week there's drama. Every fucking week. Not to mention, during the bye week, the fact that ownership is possibly on the fence of hiring Joe Shane, and there's possibly a shift change going on because of what's happening with John Mara. Like, there's so much going on right now in this organization, and not to mention the clown show or press conference that we had to have this. Oh, by the way, Brian Cox, you're fired because you don't want to sit in the back of the chair. Hey, everybody else, make that a lesson to you. I'm Mike Kafka. I've done nothing in the NFL, but I can fire you.
It's like telling a grown man get out your house because he doesn't want to sit at the kids' table and shit. Like, he doesn't want to sit at the fucking
Exactly.
kids' table.
Exactly.
What the hell?
Perfect analogy. Perfect
What's
analogy.
what's going on, Jesse Gardner, man? Welcome to the stream, man. Dallas Cowboys for life, huh? Go Cowboys Nation. Yeah.
It's like this.
Well,
Hey,
they
man,
better
come
figure it
on.
out because
We're
they
gonna
holding
see
on.
with
They
the
got a little
adults.
chance. They
You
got a
know?
little outside chance. They better fucking get it together.
Yeah, well, they need to win. They win 4 out, you're in. That's all I'm going to say. You win the next 4, you're out. How the hell can John Mara see Tisha? Exactly, because you know what this is. This is worse. You know why this is worse than last year? Because at least last year Brian Dable kept all this in house. There weren't as many leaks of what's going on, and it was a shit show, and he shouldn't have brought back. But this is every week they fire somebody, or they come out flat, or it's always something else with this team. And now you have a coach who, I don't know, maybe ownership likes him. I don't know, but I just understand how you can have drama on a bye week. We're supposed to be winning on our bye week, and we come to find out that he getting fired over a fucking chair.
See, that's just so ridiculous, man.
I didn't fire his boss.
I didn't even know until this morning. I looked it up because I was wondering. I was curious about why he had. I didn't even know. I was like, "You got to be kidding! This is a joke."
I mean,
I think they said, like I said up in the chat earlier, somebody when it comes down to it, this whole regime needs to be fired because it's a complete failure. Everyone right now associated, it's a failure. You can't retain anybody. They all got to go. Joe Shane included. They all foot the ass out the door, man. We got to start over.
It just doesn't. The problem that I have with it is you're on your bye week and you're supposed to be out of body, out of mind, out of sight, right? After the press conference, you're like, nothing else could possibly happen. Nothing else could be happening on a bye week. Oh, yep, we get the news that Brian Cox was fired. Like what? Like this is what I'm saying. You should be focusing on winning. Instead, you have an entire team on the damn injured report, right? You've got guys coming back. Van Round's on the injury report with his shoulder. Josh Azudu's coming back. Great. I want Josh Azudu to step into the fire right now because that's what's going to happen. That's what the Giants are going to do. They're going to be like, Van Round's out. We put in Josh Azudu, who might have a good game, but let's be honest, hasn't played football for weeks.
Yeah, I don't this team. But all right, since we've been talking about the Giants for a little bit here, just all their nonsense, everything going on at the New York Giants circus, man. Let's talk about the game this week coming up. Giants Commanders on Sunday, hosting the Commanders for the first time this season. This is what makes me a little wary about this game. The New York Giants are actually favorites for the very first time this season. It's only week 14, folks. But yeah, I mean week 15. And for the first time, the New York Giants are actually favored to win a football game. I don't know how that's going to go. That makes me a little bit wary because it feels like people are putting faith in the New York Giants, and that's not usually a good thing from what we've seen. But Adam, what you got, man?
I'm not necessarily a favorite, but I think they'll win just because if Washington comes out and plays like they played against Minnesota, it should be a cakewalk. But what scares me is that if Washington comes out and plays like they play against Denver, and we come out flat, it could be an embarrassing game. It really could be. Now, I'm hoping – I don't care about what happens. I think the guy is fired. So you win or lose, it doesn't matter to me. I'd like to see them win just for like Jackson Dart. I want to see him play well. I want to see, some young guys out there. I really want to see the young guys. I don't need to see Darius Slayton. If Bo Collins is healthy, put him in there. Why? Because Bo Collins has a chance to be here next year. Darius Slayton doesn't. If Tyrone Tracy needs to sit, put in Eric Gray. I want to see him play. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see Fedoni, get some burn. If you can't bring up some of these guys on the D line, bring up somebody extra. I want to be able to evaluate players. The problem is we have a coach that's trying to coach for his job, and he won't do that. He won't make it easy. He won't make it, a chance to see players. Like I look at it like this, right? Remember Jim Fossil won his first year, and then the next year he went like 8-8. You knew he was coming back, so you got to see some players. And then in 2000 and after 2000 season, they had some injuries and they ended up 7-9. But at the end of the year, you got to see some players because they knew they were out of it, but they still wanted to perform well, but they got the chance to see players. We don't get to do that. We are stubborn. We're going to say, oh, you know what? You're a young guy who needs reps. Fuck it. We're going to put in the old veteran who won't be here next year, because that's what the Giants fucking do. And I just think, if you are the first pick, I know people hate to say that, but why not? Why would you not want to be a top 3 pick? Be the most attractive you can be for all the candidates here. Fire Joe Shane, give him the highest pick that you want. Don't worry about anything. And then a team like the Jets, who are going to be calling you for the second quarterback coming out, is going to trade you a buttload to get to that pick. So it just makes sense to kind of just like see young guys and see players. If you want Jackson Dart to sit because you don't want him to get knocked out or he gets banged up this game a little bit and you want to pull him early, by all means, do what you got to do. But unfortunately, they're probably going to win on Sunday. So
I just re-highlighted this comment again from Joe, man, because I think heard somebody else bring this up on some show. I don't know what show I was watching. I heard somebody bring this up. Might have been the video on YouTube, another content creator or something. But it's almost like if I would be okay with this. I know Jackson Dart wouldn't be okay with it. Obviously, the kid wants to play football, but I'd be okay with this from a New York Giants standpoint. Russell Wilson gives you the best chance to lose without making it necessarily look like you're just flat out tanking. You know what I mean? In a sense, you can go out there and throw that guy out there. You know he sucks. You know he ain't got nothing else left in the tank, man. He can go out there and mess around and lose all the rest of these games for you, and it can still look at least respectable losing is from a standpoint of you're not just laying down on purpose. You know what I mean? But I actually wouldn't be upset with that if they went that route. Myself personally, I don't know how you felt about potentially something like that, but I'm not as much as I want to see Jackson Dart play. I like to watch Jackson Dart play. This is a lost season. I think we know that the kid can play, and I'd rather keep him healthy and just get ready for next year, man. Go into the off season.
I would say to you this: if we had an established coach here already, like let's just say Tom Coughlin was here, and he had a bad year because the quarterback went down and shit was happening, he knew he was coming back and not getting fired, then I would do exactly that. I would say, you know what, put in Russ. We're going to run it back next year with our coaching staff. You guys are safe. We want the first overall pick, blah, 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 blah. But because of the turmoil that's going on and Mike Kafka now he's got to prove that he is right, with firing all these coaches and trying to be the man on campus, he's not going to do what we ask, and that's, hey, let's save the first overall pick. Not that the Giants want to do it because they've never been in their history, but and it's not even about the quarterback this time. It's about the next guy coming in and being able to get a boatload of draft picks because they're at the first overall pick, and somebody's going to need a quarterback. And some of these teams, like the Browns, the Jets, and a few others, have multiple draft picks that you could get and really rebuild your team in a quick fashion. Right. And if you have a better guy selecting players and a better process of selecting players, those draft picks will hit. I mean, we talk about Joe Shane, but I was thinking about Jerry Reese the other day and how he gets dogged in this franchise sometimes, but he's had better hits in the later rounds than any of the two GMs combined the last couple go-rounds, right? I mean, he found him on Bradshaw later on. He drafted, he drafted Steve Smith, who's a good player. He's had some other he drafted Jaquan Williams that played for him and made big plays in the game. And I'm sure there's many other guys. He brought in Devin Thomas. That was a bust that he brought in. So he's the, roster construction wise, we talk about these GMs and I feel like I want to call Jerry Reese back here and rebuild this team because that's what I'm looking for. And, it doesn't matter. I don't care if they go 4-0 these next games, which it'll be nice to watch winning, but it doesn't change my stance on the front office and this regime.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think at this point, there's nothing that can say that could or should say this regime. And I think New York Giants got to wash their hands clean of it, man, because it's just not going to get better if you're going to have these guys still leading the way. It's just not going to work. I'm just not a believer that the New York Giants talent is as bad as it sometimes can look on Sundays. I just think this team is not being prepared properly, and I think this team clearly a lot of the losses this season I think you can put squarely on poor coaching decisions and poor coaching choices. I mean, that's just a reflection of the leadership of this football team, man. And it's just been terrible, and it's been terrible for far too long. I mean, I heard what you're saying with the Jerry Reese thing. Can't imagine that we see Jerry Reese coming back into the office. Like I said,
No.
but at the same time, I do hear what you're saying. I mean, like the 2007 draft class, that was a top to bottom. We talk about knocking out the park draft class. That guy knocked that draft class out the fucking park that season, man. And saw where the Giants ended up at the end of that year, man. So you do need somebody that has some kind of real football sense in here, man. Because right now, Joe Schoen has not been demonstrating making good decisions for this football team, and it's just been bad, leading this Giants team astray, man. Straight up, like this has to go. I think he's only really hanging on to his job right now at all because of the John Mara health situation. I really believe that is really the only reason why he's holding on to his job right now, currently. And to me, come end of the season, we can go ahead and rectify that and move on from him, man. It's got to happen. Ain't nobody hating on the Cowboys. Jesse Gardner, calm down in the chat, man. Ain't nobody hating on your boys, man. I mean, damn, we see you like them boys, but we ain't hating on them. I mean, Giants can't hate on nobody right now. The Giants, we suck. Point blank and period. Okay, the Cowboys ain't necessarily great, but they better than the Giants. Okay, so that is what it is. So imagine what we feel like right now. And we got to sit up here and talk about this every week and talk about every other team and how every other team in this division is pretty much better than the Giants. I mean, other than, I guess, Washington right now, they're pretty much about the same, one and the same, I suppose. But yeah, I do think on Sunday the Giants should go out there and win this football game. But I'm starting to I don't know, the fact that we're favorites is giving me a bad situation. I think, like somebody said earlier, that like Mariota mess around and come up and just light our defense the hell up, man. And I just feel like that might happen. I think Washington may rebound. And I'm just not comfortable picking the New York Giants to win a football game. I'm sorry. Even though they're playing against a very bad, pitiful Washington football team this week, I'm just not comfortable picking the Giants to win a football game because they don't deserve the right to be picked to win a football game. It's been that bad. That's how I feel about it. But I guess you picked the Giants this week. You said you were picking the Giants to win this one, Adam?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, we'll see what happens on Sunday. I mean, I'm obviously going to always root for them to win, but they don't give me enough confidence to pick them to win. I can't take them seriously anymore, man. This team is.
Like you said, like I'm looking at something now, and they're like somebody Dov Kleiman on Twitter is clowning our interim head coach, with the rant that he had. Like we're getting clowned on Hard Knocks. We're firing coaches over seats. I mean, I'd rather have just kept Brian Dable and just let the thing go up in flames, but not like this. I wouldn't have heard of all this bullshit. You could have just fired them all. But now every week is a new story. And this guy, I'm just like you. I'm nervous to pick them to win, not because of the favoritism, but just because what will they, if they don't show up, they could be embarrassed by Washington. If they give you the performance they gave you in New England, we're going to be embarrassed.
I mean, look, the reality is we're going to have a secondary that's going to probably still struggle to keep Terry McLaurin under control. I mean, Deebo Samuel can probably, is going to make some plays against our back end. The other, I know they lost Zach Ertz, but the other young guy they got a tight end, he's pretty decent too. Actually, I can't remember his name offhand right now, but he's pretty solid too. And just New York Giants, our run defense. Our run defense is absolutely atrocious. So it wouldn't shock me they'll hit us with their little trio of running backs that they got. And I just can't do it. I just can't pick the Giants right now, man. They just disappoint me, and I can't pick them to win. So we're gonna just leave it at that. But next up, man, we got Philadelphia going out to Vegas, man. I mean, hosting Vegas, excuse me, not going out to Vegas, hosting Vegas. The Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Las Vegas Raiders 1:00 on Sunday, man. This is do or die. Eagles got to win this football game. They're on a 3-game losing streak right now, and they got to figure out a way to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. They cannot afford to drop this game. What's your thoughts on it, Adam?
If they lose to the Raiders, they might as well just pack it in, right? And I don't know who the Raiders are starting this week. I think it might be Kenny Pickett. Um, maybe Geno Smith. I have no idea. They did bench Geno last week. Who knows what will happen? But this Raider team is probably the worst team in football in terms of how they've handled things. And it's pretty bad because I didn't think Pete Carroll would ever coach a team like this. But it just shows you what shit happens, right? And if the Eagles, I'll tell you this: if the Eagles can't score on this team and blow this team out, it's going to say a lot more about the Eagles. Like the Eagles need a trouncing of this team. Don't win this game 16-14. Don't win this game like. Go out and make a statement. Because if you do that, I can't trust you beating Washington. I can't trust you beating Buffalo, right? They need to really come back. And this is what they call a slump buster. But I will tell you this. This is probably the only game I think they're going to be not favored in, but like where I can see them winning this game, no problem. The other three games, I look at Washington, it's a divisional game. So 50-50 on that. It doesn't matter what records are. You know that. I know that. It doesn't really matter, especially if they can play spoiler for you down the road. I can see the Commanders wanting to do that and using that as motivation to beating the Eagles. And the Eagles, coming out flat. They've come out flat 3 games in a row. Like they are in a 3-game losing streak, maybe more, right? And this is huge. This game is huge. They need this game. I'm picking them to win. And they should win. If they don't win, then come Wednesday, boy.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good look. I mean, they may burn the people. They burn the city of Philly down if the Eagles lose this football game. Seriously, like the link will probably get burned down to the ground if they lose to the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday. And that's real. That's just a real statement, as real as I can keep it. As a matter of fact, they better figure it out, man.
No lies told.
But I think they are going to figure it out. This team is terrible. Like you said, yeah, I think it's definitely a strong argument that you can make a strong case for them being the worst team in the league. Obviously, the Giants right now hold the first overall pick. So if he technically, by technical standards, that would make, I guess, the Giants technically the worst team in the league, technically. But at the same time, I see what you're coming from with that. The way the Raiders team looks offensively, they're a mess. They have not been able to get that offense on track at all this season. Ashton Genty has not looked like the guy who necessarily thought he was going to be. He hasn't provided that spark yet. I don't think the kid, I'm not saying, obviously would never use the word bust. He hasn't been that bad either, but it's just been not what people had thought that he was going to do, what he thought he was going to provide to that offense. They drafted that one receiver in the second round. They haven't thrown the ball to him all season. I feel like they barely haven't even thrown a pass to him all season. Brock Bowers can't do everything on his own, man, at the tight end position. So I just think I think what you said, something that resonates with me, is that this Philadelphia Eagles not only has to go out there and win on Sunday, they got to go out there and absolutely obliterate this Las Vegas Raiders football team, because this is a team that is absolutely beneath you. It's one thing to go out there, you lose a close, hard-fought fight in overtime to the Chargers. That's one thing. It's one thing to go out and lose to the Bears the week before that. It's one thing to even lose to the Cowboys, the prior week. But this Las Vegas Raiders team is not even remotely on the level of any of those other 3 teams that I just mentioned, that you're just coming off this 3-game losing streak off of. And you got to figure out a way to go out there and not only win, but win big. You got to make a statement, because right now you have no momentum whatsoever, coming off of an embarrassing performance on Monday night for the world to see. And I think that you got to go out there and you got to put it all on the line, and you got to really make the Raiders pay for it, man. And you got to show them that he's what you call it, man. That this is what we are. We're here and the Raiders are there. You got to prove that point. You can't go out there, like you said, and win some little 16-14 matchup. Sure, it counts as a W no matter what, as we always say. But you got to make a statement at some point, man. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, since right now you haven't been making any statements, and you're right now reeling on this season, and you're not going into the playoffs postseason getting with any momentum, if you can even hang on to. Like I said, I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point that there's only going to be one NFC East team in the postseason, and that is whoever wins this division between the Eagles and the Cowboys. And right now it's a little too tight to call right now. So hopefully we'll see what the Eagles can do. If they can rebound and get back and wake the hell up. But if they lose this game on Sunday, trust me, I will see smoke burning coming from the link, and I'll see it. I'll be able to see that shit burning because it's gonna get ugly. It'll get really ugly if they lose this football game. Yeah, that's what his name was. Thanks, Joe Beck, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He was good in college, but I guess obviously second round draft pick, so I guess he was good in college. But yeah, he hasn't done anything at all for the Raiders, man, at all this season.
You kid?
Yeah.
Well, that's because they don't know how to utilize him as a tight end or a receiver. He's 6'4". He runs, 6'5". He runs a 4.5 in the combine. He's a receiver, a possession guy, but they don't. He's easily to be defensed in that offense, and I think they do a lot of. Geno Smith also has been under siege, so it could be a product of him not knowing how to get open that well, and Geno Smith not looking at him. Bowers and the other guy they got number one. So
we'll see. We will see. Well, we only got one more game left to talk about. That's Dallas on Sunday. Was it Sunday Night Football? Is that Dallas against Minnesota?
They're on Sunday night again?
I think so, yeah.
The Cowboys need to get off that fucking primetime shit, bro.
Yeah, Sunday Night Football against the Vikings at home, hosting the Minnesota Vikings, man. What's your thoughts on this one? Also a must-win game for the Dallas Cowboys to keep pace with the Eagles.
They're lucky they're at home. So, the next two games are at home where the Cowboys perform pretty well. And after a drubbing, I'm going to say they're going to probably, win this game. The only other game they lost at home was against the Cardinals this season. Every other game that they've been home, they've either tied or won. Which is they had two ties at home this year as well. So against the Giants and against the Packers, kind of crazy to think. Oh no, they won against the.
Well, they beat us. They beat us.
They beat the Giants.
Overtime.
I just thinking the score was the same, but so yeah, they've done pretty well. So that's the only reason I'm picking the Cowboys. Otherwise, I don't even want to pick them. They left a bad taste in my mouth that I don't want to pick them. But they're going into Big D on prime time. That's where all the lights will be at, and the magnitude of this game, especially, God forbid, the Eagles lose by some random act of football godness, right? Where, I don't know, Jake Elliott gets a punt blocked and they get it returned for a touchdown against them, and they end up losing the game to the Raiders, and that game comes down, and you see the Vikings and Cowboys. They have to win the race anyways, and I think the Cowboys have a chance. But, man, do something, Cowboys. You want us to believe? Beat the fucking Vikings. I don't really want to pick you, but odds are you're going to win this game.
I think this is it, man. I think this is the Cowboys go out there and lay that egg once again, man. I think the Vikings go out there and take care of them. I think the Vikings defense is going to clamp down on Dallas. I think Dallas is going to, and I think that they're also going to exploit Dallas's defense, man. I think Justin Jefferson is coming off two, maybe historically his career worst two games back-to-back weeks. Statistically, man, I think that's just not going to be something a trend that's going to continue. I think he's going to wake up this week against this Dallas Cowboys secondary. I think he's going to eat them alive, man. And I think it's going to be a long day for the Dallas Cowboy defense. I think it's going to lead to them taking the L here and pretty much probably, putting that last nail in the coffin for them this season, man. They just always, that's what they do, man. I can't believe it. I can't have that belief in this football team. Because they're just gonna let you down, man, and that's what they've proven to do year in and year out here, man. And I think it's gonna be a little bit of the same, man. I think on Sunday the Minnesota Vikings take care of business. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a big game for Justin Jefferson because I just 3 catches in the last 2 games combined, a total of 3 catches for I don't even think 20 yards combined in the last 2 games. You're just not going to hold a guy like that down. I think they're going to make it an effort. It's in the game plan and being installed. Like, we got to get Justin Jefferson going, and they're going to do that. And I think they're going to do it, and I think they're going to do it successfully. And I think Brian Flores is going to have that defense fired up, and they're going to make it really tough on the Dallas Cowboys offense. So that's just how I see it playing out, man.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with it because I do feel in the back of my mind that the Vikings are going to try to want to keep, like I told you at the beginning when I was talking about the Vikings against the Commanders, they want to keep their some playoff hopes alive. So I think there'll be a spirited effort. I really do. But the Cowboys put them or shut up time because if Schottenheimer loses this game, I'm going to have to start to question: is he the coach for this team? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's one thing to put up 30 points and all that shit, but if you can't stop anybody you got stars now on your team. You got Quentin Williams, you got Logan Wilson's over there, you still got Deron Bland, you paid a lot of money, right? You got guys on defense that should be making plays, and if you can't somehow, someone made fun of the Commanders for losing to J.J. McCarthy. Well, so what can be said about the Cowboys if they lose to J.J. McCarthy, right? Because I like you said, I don't think I think this is the hardest probably game on their schedule in terms of offense. But their defense has come alive the last few games and has really kept them in games. You know, we look at the fluky win and loss they had against Seattle. Do we know if J.J. McCarthy makes those same mistakes, right? Do they have a different outcome in that game? Because Sam Darnold was terrible in that game, right? But defensively, they had two long return touchdowns against Seattle and stuff. So I want to see if they can do in prime time. It's going to be exciting to see. And if the Cowboys are who they say they are, they're going to be like what you say, Mac. They're going to let us down.
Yeah, I just prepare for a letdown. I feel like I wouldn't get my hopes too. I mean, look, this is a game they should win. We all can agree. I think this is a game they should win. But Cowboys play plenty of games that they should win, and they find ways to lose them. And we'll see if they can get refocused after coming off of that terrible loss last week. We'll see, man. I mean, they did have some extra rest. I will guess you had a little extra rest coming into this one. So, like I said, we'll see. Minnesota coming off that big win against Washington, though, where they just destroyed them 31-0. Sure, they're not shutting the Cowboys out. That's not happening. But I don't foresee that happening. Can't say it won't happen because anything can happen. But it's not likely to happen. and I don't know, man. I don't know. I think maybe even just from a matchup standpoint, some of the things that Minnesota is able to do well, especially defensively, are going to affect the Dallas Cowboys. But we'll see, man. That's why they play the game, and I don't know everything for sure, but I'm just going with my gut from based on what I just feel like. I just think Dallas has a way of just letting you down, man, all the time. So just count on. You can always count on that. But with that being said, you never know. Like I said, this whole division has been a letdown, as we've been saying this whole season. Right now, the Eagles are just holding on by a thread. The sad part is, you look at some of the games the New York Giants have lost, and you see the way the Eagles, for instance, are playing right now. Even make you hindsight just like, damn, if the fucking Giants could have closed out some of these football games, we'd be right in the thick of things right now, probably in this damn division. But that's another story for another day. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do what we had to do ever, and that's where we are right now. But I don't really got much else. But other than this is not football related, but I just felt like inclined to say it because I don't really been keeping my channel more New York Giants football stuff for lately. Haven't really been branching out with too much other content. I am a New York Mets fan. If anybody does not know, for all that know, I am also a New York Mets fan, and I am now not looking forward for April because the New York Mets have had a terrible couple of days since free agency has opened up, and it's just ridiculous what this team is doing, man. How do you not? You don't make a play to get Edwin Diaz back. You don't even offer Pete Alonso a contract. I mean, what the fuck are y'all doing? You're almost as bad as my football team. the way you run right now, it's just terrible, man. It's terrible.
Thanks, no man. Thanks, no man.
So I just felt inclined to just bring that up, just because I just had to get it off my chest a little bit. This team, they just don't. I don't know what they're doing. They didn't even offer Pete Alonso they didn't even offer the man a contract. How do you not offer Pete Alonso a contract? How do you just not even offer him anything?
Can we get an examination into how bad these New York organizations are run?
Oh my God.
How bad they're run. Why do us fans? Not that we know more, but it always seems like we make the sensible decision. Now, I'm not a CEO or anything like that, but we're sitting back and Pete Alonso. I'm not a Met fan, but I know what he's done for that organization, that ball club, and I know what he means to be a New York Met. What is it? I mean, we talk about the Giants, the same problem, right? We don't bring anybody over that wins, or we don't keep any of our lineage and players. And the Mets are doing the same thing now. Again, yeah, I don't know Edwin Diaz that well, but from
One of the
what I
best
heard,
closers in the business.
well, from what
One
I
of the
heard,
best.
it wasn't much money that they needed to up their offer on to keep him. Right? It's not like we're talking about like he signed, like they gave him 66, he went for like what 69, something like that.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
you couldn't give him 70. Like, okay, well here we want you this much. Like I understand on both ends of it. The one end on the business aspect, you players like a car, they depreciate in value, right? You hope they appreciate, but the if they get injuries and things could happen, you're making a risky investment, and I get it. But at the same time, if that player is giving you their all and performing at a high level, you should make that investment. It's like if you're at your job and you go in and you want a raise, and they don't even bother to offer you a raise, and you go someplace else and they're treating you already better out the gate, why wouldn't you want to go there? And it's just, to me, I'm not a Met fan, but I feel your pain because I think the Giants are in the same boat. Like the Mets, they're run horribly. You question a lot of their moves. You're never really excited for the offseason. And when you are, you get disappointed because the moves they make don't pan out, right? I feel like if I were to take the New York Giants off the top of that and just said those words without New York Giants, you could probably explain them for the Mets. Same kind of deal. So we really got to, get these guys. I want to see the Mets do well not because I love the Mets, but New York thrives with baseball history and is rich in sports history. And I feel like having the Yankees Mets rivalry actually means something again. Having the Mets actually, play high level baseball. You want to see it. Like, I don't like the Jets, but the Jets being good allows for good trash talk between the two of us. When we both suck and we both lead the fucking league in losses and all that shit, it's no fun. So I feel your pain, man. But like Jay Ferris said, Joe Ferris said, maybe this isn't the end of the road. This is the beginning of the offseason, not the end. So evaluate them when it's over.
I mean, I get it. I hear what you're saying too over there, Joe. Man, it's true. It's a business at the end of the day, man. But some players, man, just mean so much to a team, man. Like Edwin Diaz, I think. I mean, he's one of the best closers in the business. I mean, he can have his rough nights, his rough outings. You know what
$3
I
million.
mean? But overall, he's one of the best in the business, man. And I think you just got to keep a guy like that around because, especially with the Mets issues they have in their bullpen last season, you got to keep the best guy you got. I mean, your closer, you got to hang on to that guy. You got to. I mean, Pete Alonso, yeah, it's a little tough. I love Pete, man, but you're right. I mean, you can kind of see he doesn't really give you a whole lot in the field at all anymore. You know what I mean? And his bat can be. I mean, if he's not hitting home runs, I get it, but we'll see, man. We'll see. I'll
Aren't they
see.
one of
I'll
the
see
highest
how it all
paid
plays out.
baseball? Like, don't they have? Did they just get a new ownership group that opened the pocketbook? So you're telling me $3 million is what you're letting a guy walk for? Like a guy that, like, I understand people have price points, right? When you go into negotiation, you're negotiating a salary, whatever, right? If you really want somebody, give them the extra money. You could even make that $3 million incentive based, right? And say, you know what? We'll give you $66 million with a chance to earn up to $70 million with incentives and shit, right? So it's essentially a $70 million contract, which he may or may not get to, but at least he's happy because he gets the number he wants. He can work towards getting those bonuses that are, allotted in that contract, and everybody's happy. Instead, you get the sports radio and everyone talking to you about how dumb you look because you're not opening the purse strings to go get a guy. You think the New York Yankees are going to quabble over $3 million? You think they're not going to get their guy? They're going to say, you know what? We'll give you $4 million. How about that? You know what I mean? Like, I hope it works out for you. That's all I have to say. I hope it works out.
That's a good point. No mess. I mean, that might even have something to do with his position, with his decision to go to Baltimore. I mean, that's a hitter's part, man. That definitely is for those sluggers, man. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, look, congratulations to Pete, Lonzo, Edwin Diaz. You know, I mean, I know, they're still my guys. That just unfortunately they're playing for enemies now, man. I mean, Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers, that hurts, man.
Especially
Especially if
especially a team like them, right? That, just won the World Series, understands that this is a window that they want to keep, right? They don't always want to use who's that star pitcher they have from Japan they got there? I forgot what his name was, but it's eluding me right now. But the guy who came in to basically save them at the end, Yamamoto or something like that. Like, you don't want to use him all the time in a closeout game. You want your closer, and you're spending money in it. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers are again back in the postseason, and this guy is on a big stage somewhere winning them an ALCS title. And meanwhile, the lowly Mets are trying to scrape by and get some wild card. But what are you going to end up saying? Well, if they only had their closer, if they had a legit closer, if they had somebody that could close out, and the story of the Mets, man, the story of the Mets. But let's see how
absolutely.
It goes. It's early.
Absolutely, it is early. We'll see. Like I said, you never know. Maybe maybe I could be wrong, but we'll see. Trust the process, so to speak. Trust the process, so to speak.
I hope
But I'm just getting tired of all my teams stinking, man. They all suck, man. Like, I don't know what's up with that. But
I'm counting down the days to the Giants season is over. So, and this is what we call a segue back into the football, where we can get rid of these idiots who are running our show right now, and get to see some of the candidates that they bring in. And my one ask, whoever ownership is, I know you're not listening. You're not one of the 4 listeners ownership. Maybe you should sometimes listen to us because we have a great show and insight on the NFC East. You may learn something. But next ownership group, please don't do a sham interview. Don't do a sham interview like you did last time where Joe Shane already knew he was going to hire Brian Dable. Get me a GM and do a thorough search. If that means you land on Halfley after doing it, and you're saying that I want experience, and Halfley happens to come in there and wow you, make it happen. What I don't want to see with the Giants doing is patchwork, is forcing the GM with the new coach, and then patchworking together like, oh, we got to bring in Mike McCarthy as the OC because we don't really trust this guy. Let these guys make all the staff changes they want. We lost a coach in Matt Rule because we wouldn't let him bring in his staff and money, right? Joe Judge had to have Jason Garrett forced on him, for his regime. Brian Dable, has had problems, and he was a first-time head coach. Maybe don't telegraph it. Don't just go with the GM and the guy. Make sure you're unturning every rock and stone and crossing every T and dotting every I, because you are going to have candidates on this list that aren't there now, right? You might have the Stefanskis of the world. Who knows if Tomlin is available, right, for some reason. Maybe Harbaugh becomes available. Like, you can't just narrow it down to, well, I'm going to take Mike Shula and that's it and call it a day because I'm bringing in the Rams GM or whatever. No. Make sure you get everybody in the building. You ask them how they use Dart, how they rebuild your Giant pride. What do they think about certain things? Certain ways that they're doing things in the football world, how it can help you out, what they need, what they don't need. I don't care who the owner is that comes in. Make sure you do a thorough fucking. That's all I ask. And if you land on Mike Shula or Kubiak or Halfley or one of these up and coming coordinators, fine. But if you don't you do what we did last time, we're gonna be in the same quagmire that we're in right now.
Well, as long as it's like you said, as long as they do it thorough and go about the process properly, don't fall for fake energy, that fake Joe Judge energy, like whatever he said in that interview. I don't know. He must. I mean, because that guy clearly wasn't it.
It was Bill Belichick. He said, "Oh, hire him." You know what John Marin did? He jumped. He was like, "Oh, not only do I love his interview, but Bill Belichick signed on him. Great job. I don't think we should listen to him anymore."
Yeah, but yeah, Joe, you're right, man. I think it starts with firing Joe Shane, getting rid of him as soon as the season's over, dismissing him, relieving him of his duties. Because, like you said, here, no legit head coach candidate is coming in here to work with Joe Shane after you watched what's going on with the New York Giants over the course of the last X amount of years. Said I would take Shula and their assistant GM. That sounds good. If we don't get Tomlin or a top guy, yeah, look, like I said, I just can't really. I don't want to even really get excited for Mike Tomlin right now because I just don't. Just like I said, it's going to be his decision basically to lead the Steelers. Pretty much, it's not. It's just the way Steelers do business. He's not getting fired from the Steelers. So unless he leaves on his own, steps down on his own, I just think it's just. I just think talking about him is almost a waste of time, man. Until it's really for sure that he's available, man.
I would love for KOC to fail in Minnesota and he get fired. Like the guy that I also am interested in, but not many people might not like, is Cliff Kingsbury, and another one is Kevin Stefanski. Like I don't know what Stefanski, if he's really that good or if he's really that bad, but he's a 2-time coach of the year and brought the Browns the most playoff success they've had in probably 40 years.
But then you watched how he ran things this year, and it's almost like, what the fuck is? I mean, yeah, sure, they won't have that same issue with over here. He wouldn't have that same issue, but it's still that was just weird. That whole way they ran things this year, and then even to the game on Sunday with that game on Sunday, Stuart Sanders out there cooking the way he was cooking, man. You was taking him off the field for a 2-point conversion attempt to do some gadgety Wildcat play. What the fuck was that?
Here's the thing. He did take accountability for that, making that play. And I think he's starting to get the rumors that he's not going to be back next year. So you might start to see a difference in approach with him. My point is, the only reason I really want him is because I know his offense is not bad. With Jackson Dart, I think he can cook with Jackson Dart. It's really his defensive coordinator that I want, Jim Schwartz. I would love for him to – I don't necessarily think Jim Schwartz would be a head coach. He's a guy that maybe – should get an interview as a head coach because his defense has been phenomenal, but nobody's talking about it because obviously, we'll see if he because Jim Schwartz has that defense humming. Imagine what he could do with Carter, Burns, Thibodeau, and the rest of the defense there.
Thibodeau. I love it, man. All right, man. Let's get ready to wrap things up, man. You got any final thoughts you want to say before we wrap it up, man?
No, I gave my final thoughts. That's all.
All right, man. I appreciate everybody once again tuning into another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. I am Mac the Giants fan. This is my super dope co-host Adam Costas. We'll be back next Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, for another show, man, talking about this NFC since things get down to the wire, man. We're going to be here with y'all until there's no NFC East team standing, which the way things looking right now might not be past the first week of the playoffs, but we'll see. We will see. But
it sure seems like it.
We'll see.
Let's pay millions of dollars, everyone.
Make sure y'all go over to my channel, man, and hit that subscribe button, hit the like for the stream, go to Adam's channel. Do the same thing. Hit the subscribe. Hit the like button for the stream over there too. Go and do the same thing at the Hardcore Sports Network as well. Really appreciate y'all supporting our stream on all platforms, man. That is available, and we'll be back next Wednesday, same time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Happy holidays, everyone. Peace.
I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants Fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants Fan. That's MACDA Giants Fan.